This world of ours, welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As you know already, the computer did not work.
Hold on a second, guys.
Okay, guys, I'm still live here. I'm sorry. That was NCWQ Explorer Rebecca. Anyway, guys, I just want to tell you what's going on. And I want to tell you this. I had a lot of information I wanted to show you. And I'm seeing all you guys here in chat, and I really appreciate it. Pam Miller, Richard Smith here, NCWQ Explorer, Demon Catman, thank you for being here with us as well. Don Patoka was here with us a few minutes ago. I really appreciate that, guys. It means the world to me. Berlinda's here. We appreciate that as well. God bless you all. God bless you all for coming over here and still following us. I definitely appreciate it. Now, I want to tell you, I just was trying to show you hotspots in the Imperial Valley that were there earlier today. And they're still there, okay? Hotspots. Now, we have had earthquakes. We talked to you about earthquakes the other day down there in the California Imperial Valley. There still are earthquakes hitting. Why do we have hotspots? Folks, remember us talking about the volcano there? The Salton Butte volcano? We have hotspots because there's magma down there underneath the Imperial Valley. Yes, we've had earthquakes, okay? We've talked about the San Andreas Fault down beneath the Imperial Valley as well, and it running along the east side of the Salton Sea. The San Andreas Fault is not the only earthquake fault there. The entire Imperial Valley is full of earthquake faults. That's why when they refer to the faults in the Imperial Valley, they call it the Brawley Seismic Zone. The Brawley Seismic Zone. There are a bunch of earthquake faults there, and they are active. They are active. The San Andreas Fault can trigger any one of those fault zones throughout the Imperial Valley. That is one of the reasons we had an earthquake over in El Centro the other day. The 5.8 that they said was actually a 4.7, they're full of crap. The USGS is full of crap. It was a 5.8. That was in El Centro. Earlier today, we had some tremors there in the Imperial Valley. One of those tremors is exactly where that hotspot was in the town of Imperial. We also had other hotspots over in Holtville, where the Salton Desert Research Station is. That's where one of the seismographs are. We showed you the other day where 8 seismographs were all over the Imperial Valley. They're recording earthquakes everywhere. We had a hotspot over in Calipatria, just on the southeast side of the Salton Sea. We also had a hotspot today down in the southern area of the Imperial Valley. That, folks, was down in Calexico, right at the border. As I have said before, I fully expect us to have a major earthquake in the Imperial Valley. That whole area is going crazy. It really is. It's going nuts. I want to warn everybody. I don't see several of the people that live in the Imperial Valley here on our chat room tonight. I want to carry the message out here. If you all see this broadcast later, Anyone living over in the Imperial Valley needs to be put on notice right now that, folks, there is going to be a major earthquake. And everybody over in the Imperial Valley needs to be aware of it. There's going to be a major earthquake, and it's going to shake. It's going to destroy people's lives. It's going to destroy property, homes, businesses all over the Imperial Valley. It's not just going to be in the Imperial Valley, though. It might originate in the Imperial Valley or on the southern side of the border, near Guadalupe, Victoria, where the last major earthquake hit, that they're now saying didn't. Folks, you need to be aware of it. It's coming. San Diego is going to be fielding a lot of the shaking as well. San Diego property is possibly also in danger. And I'm not saying just downtown San Diego. That's not the case. Every community within San Diego County is going to be affected. The last time we had a major earthquake just south of the border, guess what? Guess what, folks? Everything's going to be affected. Los Angeles County felt that 7.1 earthquake back in April 3rd, 2010. It's going to happen again. People out in Arizona also felt that quake. A lot of people's lives are going to be affected by that. And everybody needs to know it. Like I said, I found hotspots on the NASA firm software. Yes, I have software on my computer to locate hotspots around the globe. I have several different things on my computer that I can look for hotspots. Since we've been looking at the hotspots in the Imperial Valley, we've also had earthquakes, and there are plenty of earthquakes there. USGS is not showing them all. Okay? USGS ought to be ashamed. Caltech should also be ashamed for not reporting these to the news stations, the television stations, and the radio stations all throughout Southern California. They should be ashamed of themselves. When the crap hits the fan and there's a major earthquake, the news stations throughout Southern California are going to ask why. News stations all over the world, all over the United States are going to ask, why did this hit? The answer is simple enough. There's been seismic energy here that's been going for a very, very long time that the agency has not reported. And I've been showing you that all along. But it's getting bad. It's getting very, very bad. And everybody needs to be aware of it. If you're not paying attention. Your world's going to be turned upside down. Upside down. I feel bad because I know what's going to happen. I have been in major earthquakes before. Juanito's here. Juanito has also felt this. He lives in El Centro. Juanito says it's okay, USGS can say no quakes here, but we feel them all day and night. When it's quiet at night, you can actually hear it coming. That's right. Juanito is testifying to what's going on. The USGS has no clue. They have no clue. I'm asking people to be prepared. I'm asking for people to get ready. Ready your families. We've talked about emergency preparedness planning. We talked about planning the other night. You need to have a plan. I am harping on it and harping on it and harping on it. Because when this major quake happens, it's going to catch everybody by surprise. If you don't have a plan, you're not going to know what you're going to be doing during and after that quake happens, or any other emergency that might happen to you. You're not going to have a clue what's going on. You're going to want to leave your house in some case because your house is no longer safe. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Your emergency preparedness plan will show you that because you've already thought about it. You've written it down. But if you don't have a plan, you're going to be crap out of luck. And I don't know how much stronger I can say it. You need to have a plan. You need to write down a plan today, right now. Get out your pen and paper. Get out your computer and write it down. If you don't, you're out of luck. Your plan is also going to detail where you might go after the emergency happens, whether it be a quake or whatever it is. But you need to have a plan. You need to set forth a plan. We talked about emergency preparedness kits the other day as well. What are you doing about that? Do you have any food storage? Have you been planning more than just for a few days worth of food? You need to have at least 6 months worth of food. Someone the other day here on YouTube was telling people that Homeland Security was telling people to have 18 to 30 hours worth of food. Really? Less than 2 days worth of food. And they're saying Homeland Security was saying that? They're full of BS. Homeland Security is not the agency that talks about emergency preparedness. FEMA is. If that dirtbag that's in charge of Homeland Security is talking about preparedness, he's talking out of his butt. He doesn't know preparedness any more than he knows how to secure the border, because he's not doing a damn thing about securing the border either. And people are dying there. Military-age people are coming across the border faster than Carter has liver pills. Millions of people have come across that border. Upwards of 7 or 8 million people have come across that border into the United States from over 160 countries worldwide since Biden took office. And yet Biden now is asking Congress for authority to close down the border. Biden already has that authority. President Trump was doing a good job at it. But heaven forbid the Democrats want President Trump to do anything. And as soon as Biden got into office, he shut down the building of the fence at the southern border. Biden this past year had people cut a hole in the fence so people could stream right through it. He cut open a gateway, and the gate is open permanently. They welded it open. Biden wants people to come in for whatever reason. I know why he wants them to come in. He wants those people in so they will vote Democrat. So they will vote Democrat. It's incredible. You can't trust this government, not one iota. Now, we also found out that Democrats are voting against President Trump in the primary election. Democrats are registering as Republicans so they can vote for Nikki Haley. They're voting for Nikki Haley to stop President Trump. And yet, even in South Carolina this week, tomorrow, the primary election is set for tomorrow, the main primary election. They've been voting in South Carolina for days now, weeks. Here in North Carolina, they started voting here in North Carolina 2 weeks ago. And yet the election is here in North Carolina isn't until March 5th. But these stupid idiots have registered as Republicans in this election to try to get Nikki Haley in as a president. It's not going to do them any good. President Trump is already scheduled to take at least a 30% jump over Nikki Haley in South Carolina, and yet she's a former governor of South Carolina. It's all politics, guys. It's all hate. It's all discontent. Anyway, besides all that, I didn't mean to get off on politics tonight. But, well, I am going to talk about something in just a minute. I also want to warn everybody in California. I used to live there. If you are in California, you're already getting hit with major weather. Your soil cannot handle any more rain at all. I had my cousin in Visalia, California, put up a video today showing heavy rain and hail. Visalia is over by Sacramento, well inland. The entire state of California is getting nailed right now. That storm in California is not scheduled to stop till sometime on Wednesday afternoon. So Southern California, or not just even Southern California, the entire state of California is under siege by this storm. North to south and east to west. Heather, our dear friend Heather here, she's up near Redding, up near Mount Shasta, Mount Lassen. That area is also getting pelted. Heather posted a video on Facebook. She posted on the Facebook Messenger as well. I was going to show that to you, but my software is not working. Folks, it's bad. It's really bad. If you think that it's not bad, you don't have everything together. You're not knowing what's going on, and you never probably will know what's going on. Oh, Ron, you're exaggerating. No, I'm not. The weather is all over the entire state of California, and it's moving east. After that weather system leaves California, it's going to move east into Nevada. It's going to move into southern Utah. And because of prevailing winds and weather systems coming out of the south, some of that weather may even go into central Utah as well. Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. Then it's going to move across the entire country. Now, folks, I know this is an international program. Our dear friend Demon Cat lives in England. They have their own weather going on in Europe, all over the place. Snow and rain. I believe England is getting pelted with rain as well right now. A lot of Europe is. Every country around this world must prepare for what's going on. Now, part of the problem is also these politicians. They have manipulated the weather as well. And I know I'll get a lot of flack in the comments of this video after we posted it, saying Ron doesn't know what he's talking about. Nothing's going to happen in Europe. Nothing's going to happen here in the United States. Nothing's going to happen anywhere. Weather's not being manipulated. Last Friday, I think it was, when I tried to do, or Saturday, when I tried to do a video on Rumble, and I got in all kinds of computer issues then, and internet issues, and Rumble going through problems all over the United States. But I posted a video on Rumble, and I said then that these politicians have manipulated the weather. The politicians have also manipulated the United States Geological Survey. And wouldn't you know, one of my enemies that was here on our YouTube channel, even until 2 years ago, was bad-mouthing me, saying, how dare you attack USGS? It's just like you, Ron, trashing the country. No, I'm not trashing the country. What I'm saying is the politicians have manipulated the agencies. They've done it all. They're destroying this country. Okay? Nader Zal is here in the chat saying we all need Islam before it's too late. We need to worship God alone. We do worship God alone. We don't need Islam to tell us how to do it. Okay? We're not even going to entertain that. Not going to happen. In fact, I just removed that. Nader Zal, you don't have that permission to put up things like that on my chat. Not going to happen. Okay? I just removed it. Nader Zal, if you continue, I'll block you. Nader Zal says, here comes the block. Yes, I'll block you if you continue your garbage here. I've studied this. I know what I'm talking about. I definitely know what I'm talking about. I've been around the block many times. Okay? It's not the first time that I've encountered all of this weather information, that I've encountered earthquakes being reported wrong. I know what I'm talking about. Yes, I blocked him. He said, here comes the block. Okay, he's blocked. He's gone. People that come here on the chat don't know what they're talking about. They're gone. Everyone must get along. Okay? I get along with everybody. But if you start talking about or talking things against me, you're gone. Period. Okay? So he's gone. Anyway, getting back to what's going on. It's not just the United States that's getting hammered. It's everybody. We just saw the elite politicians of the world having a meeting in Davos, Switzerland. Okay? They had that great big huge meeting before the beginning of the year, telling the world what they wanted to say and what they planned for us. We have to stand up. We have to stand up and be counted. Now, one of the things I also wanted to talk about, okay, and yes, when I have a chance and when I don't have computer problems again, I will come on the air and show all this weather. I appreciate Heather doing what she's done over on Facebook and Messenger, showing what's going on. I appreciate my cousin Linda over in Visalia, California, also posting what's going on there. That storm's hammering California, the entire state. 2 feet of snow in the mountains of California, below 7,000 feet. 2 feet of snow, that's a lot of snow. This storm is not as bad as the previous one a week ago, but it is bad. And again, it's crossing the country. The other thing I wanted to talk about tonight before I get off is over in New York. The truckers are now putting up a protest against going into New York with food or any kind of supplies. If you live in New York, you're going to get hammered. You're not going to have supplies. You're not going to have food like you had it. The truckers, if they have anything that they say or do, they're not going to come into New York. Number one, New York and other cities and states charge truckers exorbitant amounts of money to come in and deliver goods or pick up goods and take them other places. For example, to cross the George Washington Bridge, and this comes from a trucker I talked to this morning, it's a $100 bill just for a trucker to cross the George Washington Bridge. It's incredible. But now, because of what New York did to President Trump, the truckers are saying, no, we're not going into New York at all. Only the commercial truckers will take anything into New York. Private truckers are not going in. If they're private owner operators, they're not going into New York because of what New York did to President Trump. New York violated President Trump's rights. They violated the law. This administration, the Biden administration, has continually violated the law. Biden and his Department of Justice, Attorney General Garland, have screwed up. Totally screwed up. Before President Biden was even in office, the Democrat Party tried to stop President Biden or President Trump from running for office before 2016. The Democrat Party did everything in their power to keep President Trump from even becoming president. And once he was in the presidency, they impeached him twice. But they were unable to remove him from the presidency. They violated his rights during the impeachment trial. They violated his rights after January 6th. They lied about him. The January 6th committee was compromised, and it was run by Democrats with very few Republicans there. They said there was an insurrection. There was no insurrection at all. You want to see an insurrection? You guys want to see an insurrection? Guess what? The insurrection happened during the past few months. Look at all the Palestinian protesters that showed up in Washington and knocked down the fence protecting the Capitol building and the White House, putting pro-Palestinian stickers all over fence posts, all over statues, knocking over monuments. That's an insurrection. Then we had Rashida Tlaib, who's a congresswoman. Rashida Tlaib took a bunch of Islamic protesters into the Capitol building. They were chanting and interrupting business in the Capitol. They had to be removed. Every one of those protesters was removed by arresting them. They would not remove peacefully. They had to be arrested. That's an insurrection. And Congressman Rashida Tlaib led those people there. But she was not the only one. Ilhan Omar, also a congresswoman, did the same damn thing. Now they're trying to remove Ilhan Omar from her seat in Congress. They need to remove Ilhan Omar. They need to remove Rashida Tlaib. They need to remove AOC. And I could go on with about 4 or 5 other women and another 10 or 15 men that need to be removed from Congress because of their communist leanings. We do not need communists in the White House. And yet that's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. Communists have taken over the United States. We have to take back our country. We have to take back our country. Years ago, and I'm talking a lot of years ago, this has been going on for a long time. Back in the 1960s, the former Secretary of Agriculture for President Eisenhower, his name was Ezra Taft Benson. He talked about the Communist Party in the United States. He was talking what was going on, yet people didn't believe him either. People did not believe him either. And yet everything he said was going to happen has happened. He prophesied it. He was very knowledgeable. And yet these communists said, oh, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's when the Communist Party was hiding. But these same vocal communists were saying, oh, it's not going to happen. Yes, it is. And it has. The Democrat Party that was back in charge in the 60s, President Kennedy, isn't the same Democrat Party that's in charge now. The CIA had President Kennedy killed. Johnson took over. Johnson was just the beginning of the Communist Democrat Party here in the United States. And it's gotten worse and worse ever since. We need to stop what's going on. We need to elect honest, hardworking men and women. They're willing to take back our country and restore our freedoms here in this country. We cannot wait for it to happen, because if we wait, it won't. Okay? I'm tired of seeing our world go to hell in a handbasket like it has. I'm tired of seeing people hurt. I'm tired of our agencies lying about what's going on. And it's not just the USGS. Almost every government agency is lying to us. And all the elites of the world are lying to us as well. They're trying to lock us down again. If you thought you were locked down during the pandemic, 2019-2020 time period, guess what? They're trying to do it again. And if we let them do it, it's their own damn fault. Mega King O'King says Donald Trump should be president. I agree. But the stuff that's going on should not be happening. It should not be happening. And yet that's exactly what's going on. We cannot allow this to continue, guys. It can't continue. We cannot allow it. Does anybody have any questions for me? I've gone on about earthquakes. I've gone on about weather. I've gone on about politics here. I've talked for 34 minutes here. Becky Williams says a nation of oath keepers. Yes, that's what we should be, a nation of oath keepers. Okay? Now, back in the early 2000s, between 2005 and 2010, there were a group of Christian men, a fairly large group of Christian men. They called themselves Oathkeepers. Before I left Denver, and I left Denver in 2010 and moved to Utah. But before I left, I went to the Pepsi Center in Denver, where they had a gathering of the Oath Keepers. I joined the Oath Keepers. I am still an honest, hardworking Christian man. I truly believe in Christianity. I truly believe in our country. I truly believe in what's right and wrong. The Oathkeepers never did anything wrong. Yes, there were some Oathkeepers that got involved in January 6th. Some of them are in prison. Some of them are in prison wrongly. They should never have been imprisoned at all. But they're there. At the beginning of last year, I played the Star Spangled Banner here in our program. Though there are many of you who are here in the chat, who are here as part of our chat from the very beginning. You saw me talk about the Oathkeepers. You saw me talk about what happened on January 6th. Last year, the beginning of last year, for probably weeks on end, I played the Star Spangled Banner because there are 7 men in a federal penitentiary at 6 p.m. every evening before there's lights out. They stand up beside their bunks and they sing their hearts out. They sing the United States national anthem. I applaud that. The Biden administration hates it. The Biden administration and the Biden FBI are still going out to try to arrest more people. I was never in Washington on January 6th. I was nowhere near it. I have friends in Utah that were nowhere near Washington either. And yet the FBI in Salt Lake City called them into the FBI office to question them about their whereabouts on January 6th. Because people said that Trent and Allie were in D.C. They were nowhere near D.C. They were on YouTube filming their YouTube channel, building their home in northern Utah. And yet somebody said they saw them there. They weren't. There are a lot of Democrat communists that tell people or tell the FBI and other agencies, so-and-so was there, so-and-so was there, so-and-so was there. So the FBI has strung out all throughout the United States looking for people that were in Washington, D.C. that weren't. I'm surprised I haven't been approached. I was nowhere near that, but I was broadcasting about that. It's a joke. Okay? Don Patok is in our chat. He just posted something I think that's very important here. If you think this isn't important, do you truly understand Murphy's Law? If you don't think this is important, do you truly understand the importance of what we're talking about? If you don't, you probably don't belong here. Okay? I know what I'm talking about. I know what we're trying to do here. I'm trying to get people here that will help themselves, that will prepare for major events that are happening in our lives. We need people here that are willing to take this message of preparedness to heart, to help themselves and to help protect their families. If you can't protect yourself, you should protect your family. You should be passing this program on to everybody, sharing it far and wide. To your family, your extended family, your friends and your neighbors, your cities and towns, the people you work with, and even your social media contacts. Everybody needs emergency management associates. I don't always get on a block here talking about politics. I hate politicians. They're scumballs, including that dirtbag heading the state of California, Governor Newsom, NEWSCUM. He's scum. He's run the state into the trash. I left before he became governor. I left April 1st, 2000 and moved to Denver. Living costs were way too high. My converted studio apartment, which was converted into one bedroom that never should have been, I was paying over $1,000 a month for that apartment in San Diego. I moved to Littleton, Colorado, where I was paying for a house. $800 a month for a house. Incredible. Incredible. I left for almost purely economic reasons. But crime was at an all-time high, and I was a police officer. Gang members in San Diego were killing cops. The other day, I told you about a story, I didn't tell you about a story. I told you about 2 deputy sheriffs in San Diego County. They were flying over a town called Santee, which is in East San Diego County. Santee was near where I lived in Lakeside. Lakeside was just east of Santee. 2 San Diego deputy sheriffs were shot out of the air by drug dealers, gang members in the park in Santee, California. The deputies were in the helicopter observing the drug deal. The gang members pointed their guns in the air at the helicopter and shot the helicopter out of the air. At the time the deputies crashed the helicopter and died, it was still unknown why the helicopter crashed. It was weeks afterward when mechanics were taking apart the engine and found shell casings inside the engine. Or not shell casings, they found ammunition, lead bullets inside the engine. Gang members conducting a drug deal shot a sheriff's helicopter out of the air. Gang members were running into the back of police officers who were out on a traffic stop writing tickets. I was writing tickets all day long. I was a chief accident investigator. I was in charge of traffic within my own department. I was getting harassed by gang members every day out on the streets. I had to go to a funeral. Well, actually, I had to go to the accident scene where this police officer had been writing a ticket on a vehicle that he had pulled over. He was on the driver's side of the vehicle, and he walked back to his police car and walked between the suspect vehicle's rear of the suspect vehicle and the front of his police car. The gang members came up from behind him and punched their car, ran into the back of the police vehicle, pitting the police officer between the police car and the suspect vehicle, killing him. Killing him. He didn't die immediately, but he suffered pain like no one should ever have to suffer. He was going to die. Police officers and fire department went and got his wife and brought his wife out to the scene so they could say goodbye to each other. Because as soon as they pulled the vehicles apart, he collapsed and died. Yes, I went to his funeral too. I went to a lot of police funerals in San Diego. I went to several funerals in Denver as well. Mega King O'King says police officers need to stop pulling people over for dumb stuff. Yes, there are stupid police officers out there in every department. I understand that. And yes, those officers need to stop doing that. I agree. There are stupid, dumb cops in every department. There are. But the majority of the police officers are doing what they're doing because it needs to be done. They're doing their darn jobs, and I commend that. But the bad guys should never be there. They should be thrown out of the department. We even had 2 bad guys, or actually 3, we got thrown out of our department. And after I left, they brought 1 bad guy back. That guy was a sergeant. I'm not going to mention his name. We got him relieved from duty and thrown off the department. He was off the department about 2 years. I had left and moved to Denver. Guess what? They brought him back. He didn't even have to stand 1 day as a sergeant. They brought him back as a lieutenant. He was fired for wrongdoing as a sergeant. They brought him back as a lieutenant. What a bunch of crap that is. Okay? I've seen it happen. Adventuring Mike says, I feel uneasy when police get behind me, even when they're just behind him. I totally understand that. I get uneasy too sometimes when I see a cop behind me. But if they pull me over, and they have, I just keep my hands on the wheel so they don't feel threatened. I tell them who I am. I got pulled over on the way to work one time in Denver. I was carrying a gun. I was in uniform, but I had a cover shirt over my uniform, so most people wouldn't even know who I was. I got pulled over. The cops said I was speeding. I wasn't speeding. I told the officer who I was. He took my information back to his car, and when he got to his car, he ran it on the computer and found out that I was a police officer. Then he came back to my door and said, Officer Tyler, why didn't you tell me I was a police officer? I told him I did tell him. He wasn't listening. It's too bad he had to find out through his dispatcher. When a police officer pulls over another police officer, it shows up in our background. It shows up who we are and what department we work with. It's incredible. Yet I got pulled over right after I moved to Denver. Crazy. Anyway, I didn't even mean to be talking about that. Millis says, thank you for your service, sir. God bless you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I will tell you this. Once a cop, always a cop. No, I don't wear a uniform any longer, and I don't want to wear a uniform ever again. But if you think I don't have something on my person to help protect me and my family, or possibly someone else, you're sadly mistaken. You're sadly mistaken. Now, yesterday I found a video here on YouTube from someone who's a member of my church. And I know for a fact that the church itself doesn't want anybody carrying firearms. They don't want anybody carrying firearms if they're off duty. They don't want them carrying firearms inside the church at all. The church policy says they only want on-duty police officers to carry firearms. And those are the only people that are allowed to have firearms inside the church. That's the policy of many other churches around this country in the United States. Yet there are many people just like me that have concealed weapons permits. We have concealed weapons permits that allow us to carry firearms concealed. Here in North Carolina, you don't have to have a permit to carry a firearm. When I first moved here and attended church, the church that I started going to when I got here asked me to be part of the security team for the church. I'm a former police officer. I was a police weapons instructor. I'm part of the church security team now. I'm always carrying something on me, somewhere. My wife hated me carrying a firearm. Now she tells me if she sees me even heading for the front door, "Where's your gun?" She knows how important it is for me to carry a firearm to protect our home and to protect her and protect our family and anybody else that needs it. Our own Walmart here, not more than 3 miles away from us, was held up at gunpoint. Nobody was killed, but our own Walmart was held up last year. There's a reason that I carry a firearm everywhere. That same thing can happen anywhere. And I'm here to tell you that not only do I carry a firearm, there are hundreds of other people just like me, and even possibly thousands. But folks, I want to tell you this. I'm here to help you. That's why I started Emergency Management Associates 5 years ago. April 3rd this year will be 5 years. There was another guy that had been on YouTube talking about earthquakes. And this one time back, I believe it was the end of March into April, he was saying he was going off. He was not going to do it again. I pled with him, as well as other people in his chat, stay here and continue. He said no. And yes, he did leave the air. It was then that I said somebody has to do it. And so April 3rd, 5 years ago, I went on the air for my first time. I've been on the air almost every day since. I've only missed 5 times of being on the air. 5 times in 5 years. Guess what? I'm still on the air. Yes, I'm using my phone this time, but I'm still on the air. I'm doing everything I can to give you information that you need, whether it be for earthquakes, whether it be for fires, whether it be for floods, whether it be for hurricanes, whether it be for tornadoes, whether it be for shootings, explosions, or anything. I've been here, and I will always be here till I can't do it anymore. I'm here. I want to thank Canadian Patriot 1 for being here. He lives up over in Eastern Canada. I love that man. He's a very dear friend of mine. I love he and his family. I love each and every one of our mods here. I want to thank you all for your service to me and this channel and helping each other. That's what this channel does. We help each other. We do things for everybody. At one time, up until just a couple minutes ago, we had 154 people here watching our program. Now we're down to 134. Go figure. Probably because I was talking about firearms. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. Okay? I'm just telling you. There's things that happen. that I'm not going to let happen if I have anything to say about it. That's the last thing I want to have happen. Dylan's here in the chat saying, I have a huge fear of dying. When life is over, where's your advice? Yeah, I totally agree. But folks, I will be here until my dying breath. Plain and simple. I will be here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to help all of you. Jay Strangler says, Grandpa. Yeah, I'm a grandpa. I'm a proud grandfather. I have 7 or 8 grandchildren that I'm very proud of. Why did I say 7 or 8? Because I don't talk to my own children. They don't talk to me. Their mother badmouthed me a lot of years ago. So my own children don't talk to me. I know I have at least 7 grandchildren and possibly 8. And I love each and every one of them, even though I've never met them face to face. My own children tell their children that I'm dead. That's so sad. I never did anything to harm my children. I never did anything to harm their mother. And yet I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. It's incredible. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, for standing up for what is right, what is true. I am here for you. I swore an allegiance to my fellow man a lot of years ago, back in the 80s. I took an oath of office as a police officer. My oath has never expired. I took nearly the same oath that our military members take. Their oaths never expire either. I am here for everybody. Everybody. I will always be here. I will always be here. Always. I'm not going anywhere. Demon Catman, I don't know who you took down, but that's fine. I appreciate that. Thank you. Folks, do what you can. Like I said, I've asked people everywhere to have an emergency plan. It's up to you whether you're going to do it or not. If you don't do it, you're just going to be one statistic. When something happens, you're going to run around with your head cut off and you're going to forget to do things. And then if you have to leave your house and bug out and go someplace else, 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, 4 hours later, you're going to say, I should have taken this too. You got to write it down. You got to write it down. You have to write it down for your family. You have to write it down for yourself. If you don't have emergency food in your home, and I'm talking about regular food and food storage in the form of survival food, freeze-dried food. Now, I understand that a lot of people can't afford the survival food. If you don't have survival food, make sure you have other regular food in order to live for more than a week, more than 2 or 3 weeks, even up to and including 6 months. The bozo that was touting the Department of Homeland Security that I was talking about, saying Homeland Security was saying, oh, all you have to have is a couple weeks worth of food. Wrong. Even FEMA now is telling people to have 3 months worth of food. Why? Because they know that they can't help anyone. They may not be able to get to anyone for 3 weeks to 3 months. That's why FEMA, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security, is telling people to have at least 3 months worth of food. 3 months worth of food. It used to be if you had 72 hours worth of food. Back in 2014 time period, they asked everybody to have at least 72 hours worth of food, 3 days. Now they know that that's far insufficient. You need to have food storage. You need to have water. You're not going to survive for very long if you don't have water. So what I'm asking you to do, write an emergency preparedness plan. Get food, not just a few days or a week. Once you get 3 months worth of food, try to get 6 months worth of food. And once you have 6 months worth of food, make sure you're working towards a year's worth of food, a year's supply worth of food. We talked about storing water. Somebody said yesterday that water does not have a shelf, doesn't have an expiration date. It does. Water will go bad. You need to prepare water as well. You need to have water filtration. You need, if anything, have unfiltered, unscented bleach. That way you can put a few drops in your water that you have stored so it doesn't go bad. About every 6 months, put a couple drops of bleach in the water to keep it good. Unless you have recirculating water storage. That's an entirely different subject. And I've told everybody how to do that last year. And I'll go back and do that again. Now, before I leave tonight, if you go back through any of our videos that we presently have here on YouTube, if there's a video that has preparedness on as a topic, you must see that video. That is a must see, because those preparedness videos will help you. They'll help you. Many times on Friday, we talk about emergency preparedness. There's a reason. I have even gone as far as to show you what is in my emergency preparedness kits, my 72-hour kits. I haven't shown you what's in our storage tubs that we have here. I could be here for several hours showing you everything in our storage tubs. I'm not going to do that. Number one, it's not anybody's business but my own or our family's business. But we have published information on the Emergency Management Associates blogs. We've shown you here on the vlogs we put together. I'm trying to make sure everybody knows what they should be doing. Everybody. Thanks again, Demon Catman. Appreciate it. Okay. The one whom Jesus loves says, yes, we don't have time for fools. No, we don't. Hell will freeze over. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. We're now over an hour. I didn't know we even approached that anywhere close to it. We appreciate each and every one of you. I want to thank all of our mods. I want to thank everybody that's here. We appreciate that. My show says 3024. Go figure. NCWQ just told me about that. I didn't mean to say 3024. I said 2024. And when I post it, they must have changed. That happens occasionally. I'll take care of that. Thank you. NCWQ Explorer has also asked anybody that can to help try to support us so I can get another computer. Yes, we need that. I appreciate each and every one of you that help us in that vein as well. If you can help support us in getting a new computer, I would definitely appreciate that. When I updated this computer that I presently have to Windows 11, all of a sudden hell started freezing over and my computer shut down. And it shut down tonight before I came on the air. So folks, if you can help me, please help me that way too. I would definitely appreciate that very much. I ask the Lord to bless you. May God bless you and be with you. Help yourselves as well. Tell everyone about our program. Like I said, share it with your entire family, your extended family. Share it with your friends and your neighbors, your loved ones, your social media contacts, even the people you work with. Share it far and wide. Everybody needs this program. Everybody needs this program. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. NCWQ Explorer just posted our PayPal. We appreciate that. You can also send us money inside of a letter or a card. I love getting cards and letters. Disguise your money inside the card or the letter so nobody can see it from the outside. I get a lot of cards and letters with donations. You can send it to P.O. Box 422, Valdese, North Carolina. The zip code is 28690. Thank you, NCWQ, for putting that up. God be with you. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side, guys. Thank you for being here. Good night, everybody.